I'm a person that I genuinely study. As you can see, I'm not sure if the family can see just some of the books that I brought with myself today.
They see you got
them. I'm not the type of person that, goes and buys a PDF or downloads a PDF and scans, 3 or 4 pages.
Can you take the time to lift each and every one up and read it and let the people know? Let the family know which books that you got and which books that you are studying, brother.
Absolutely. So the first book I'm holding up is The Handbook of Egyptian Hieroglyphs, a study of the ancient language by 𝊹𓌃𓂧𓅱.
Okay.
And by the way, for those who are somewhat familiar with Kemetic culture and tradition with regard to the language, Mercer's works are regarded. The second book that I'm holding up is Egyptian Hieroglyphic Grammar. I heard Brother Sanjetti say the other day that part of the problem with people who are microwaving Medu Netcher is that they're just reading hieroglyphic dictionaries and nobody's studying grammar. Well, here's my grammar book. And I've had this for quite some time now. You can actually go on my Facebook page or go on my Instagram page and slide back almost a full 2 years where you can see me post this book up when I first got it. And this right here is actually giving props and credit where it's due. This is Brother 𝓊👃📪📪's book. This is 𝓊👃📪📪 Medu Netcher, Inscriptions of Divine Words, A Beginner's Introduction to Medu Netcher. This is the book that our good brother 𝓊👃📪📪 initially had some issues with, where they said that he plagiarized, Alan Gardner's Middle Egyptian book. This is the book. And then he did a revision to correct some of the misfounded ideas on whether or not he plagiarized. It's not my job to say that he did plagiarize. I'm not here for that. I actually had a really nice build with 𝓊👃📪📪, and I would say that he certainly knows enough within the language to produce this book on his own. And I've actually read 𝓊👃📪📪's book from cover to cover several times. And if you go through it, you can see markings and notes all over it. And I actually also am giving the brother a shout out and telling people this is definitely a great book in terms of introducing yourself into the language of Kemet. The second book that I have is a hieroglyphic dictionary of Middle Egyptian vocabulary by Bill Petty, PhD. The next book that I have is Middle Egyptian, An Introduction to the Language and Culture of Hieroglyphs, James P. Allen. This is definitely one of those books that are also highly regarded when you're learning Medu Netcher. This is a rare book. Not too many people have it. This book is a hieroglyphic vocabulary to the 𝊹📃𓓪𓓪, or the Book of the Dead, by E.A. Wallace Budge. Very rare book. Most people who have hieroglyphic dictionaries by Budge, they just have these two books, which is E.A. Budge's An Egyptian Hieroglyphic Dictionary, volumes 1 and 2. And as the family can see, these ain't no light books. All of these books is like
stepping up your scholarship.
I don't be playing, son. I've actually spent over $1,000 on books with regard to Egyptian literature, culture, and language. This is just what I dragged here today because I only got 2 hands. Because I also brought, as you're gonna see right now, the Rosetta Stone. Now I've seen a lot of.
Put it to that camera right there so they can see it. Bring it up some. See the camera right there?
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen a lot of great teachers in the community, master teachers, great students, prolific and iconic figures do lectures, but I haven't seen anybody pull out archaeological relics that they themselves possess and have in their keepsake at home.
Right.
I actually am so fascinated now, genuinely, by the culture of Kemet that I'm actually acquiring now, not just a library, but I'm actually acquiring some of the archaeological relics. I actually have the Norma palette on its way.
You're not afraid that you might somehow in your research get converted, brother? I'm just saying, you might step upon something that really start to take influence over your mind. I mean, and it's real though. It's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
What happens if you do that, brother?
Let me show this one last one, and then I'm going to answer that.
Go ahead.
So this is the 𝊹📃𓓪𓓪 stone. This is Kemet's oldest historical document. It's also known as the Royal Annals. It contains Kemet's earliest dynasties or king lists. We know of several king lists throughout ancient Kemet, but this one is the oldest king list. It also gives some of the first occurrences of the festivals in Kemet, as well as it talks about 𝓊𝓃�𓃪, which are the units of measure that measured how much the Nile flowed annually, or in the Medu Netcher, the 𝓊𝓃𝓧𝓃, or the 𝓊𝓃𝓪 River. All of this is in the 𓊹𓏄�� stone. And I actually just did a museum tour the other day where I pulled out these relics, and every single European tour guide in the museum had their jaw dropped and floored because none of them possess it.
Which museum you went to?
The Metropolitan Museum right here in Manhattan.
Have you went to the Hebrew section?
Oh, absolutely.
What have you found?
Well, the problem with the Metropolitan Museum's exhibits with regard to Hebrew history is that most of the artifacts with regard to Hebrew history are in the Penn Museum. They're also in the museum in Chicago, which is the Oriental Institute. And they're also obviously in Jerusalem. And they're in other places. Metropolitan Museum doesn't have too many archaeological relics from Israel. But if you go to other museums, you would find it. For instance, if you went to a museum in Israel, you wouldn't find too many archaeological relics from Egypt, from ancient Kemet. So the Metropolitan Museum not having as much does not point to the fact that they don't exist. It's just the simple point is they don't have many of them. Right. And we also know that the Pope has many of those things in his handling.
Now, what I was saying is that with this research that you're doing, and it's genuine, and you are for real about it, and you are sincere, you're not afraid that it might take control, right? Because if you are studying this to be true to the knowledge, it's going to somehow influence you, brother, influence your mind as you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper into the ancient Kemetic knowledge and science. You're going to see somewhere that Hebrew don't exist on this. I'm saying if you're studying this for real, like you do, you're going to see the timeline when Hebrew actually come in. Because right now you believe that the Hebrews was enslaved in Egypt, right?
Absolutely.
Right. If you keep studying long enough, you might find out that no, that was a lie, that they was not enslaved in ancient Egypt. What do you say about that?
Well, let me say this first and foremost to your first point about, digging into the crates and into the annals of history and finding things that may convert or cause me to evolve. I have no problem with spiritual and intellectual evolution. I think that we are constantly supposed to be changing. In fact, there's a biblical proverb that says the wise change often, which basically means when you encounter information that trumps the information that you possess, you're supposed to change with it.
Right. Check.
And if you can't change with it, you're not a genuine teacher, and you're certainly not a genuine leader. And on top of that, you cannot be trusted because you're willing to put the truth on the back burner so you can continue with the lie because your ego can't take throwing down the lie and picking up the truth. So I don't have that issue. If I was to, and I always say this, and not every Hebrew likes me saying it, but I'm a person, I always speak it the way I feel it.
Right.
If I was to ever encounter manifold truths in Kemet, so many truths in Kemet that point towards my system being wrong, guess what 𝓊𝓃𝓧𝓃 would have to do? I would have to change, or else I'd be disingenuous. I am first and foremost a seeker of the truth. And not too many people can say that. Not too many people can teach something. I've been in the Hebrew community for 26 years now. Not too many people can teach something for 26 years, and in the 27th year can come and say I had it all wrong. But the person that can do that is greater than them all and is more trusted than them all because this person is genuinely invested in the pursuit and application of the truth.